Hey guys, Mother Spirit here, how y'all doing? And welcome back to Seduce Me to the Demon War. In a complete reversal, Sarah's expression hardened to a serious stare at me. I nodded, knowing that the break we had was now over. Once more we trained and continued until dinner rolled around. As the soft echo of dinner time bells reverberated through the halls of the castle, Sarah and I went our separate ways, him to his lady, me to my bedroom. I walked into the room and let out a sigh. Today was tough, and I could tell it was only going to get much tougher later in the week. I felt my feet slide across the floor in exhaustion, not used to the strenuous work I had to do. I sat down on the bench in front of the fireplace, staring into the flames as I let relaxation finally hit my body. The warmth of the fire gave me a dull sense of calm, causing me to sigh and lean back against the bench.
You have done well, child.
Huh? You again?
Fear not. I come to observe you as you observe me.
I tilted my head, confused as to what the voice meant. I looked around and scurried the room before turning my gaze back to the fire. Within it, I could barely make out the outline of eyes, which caused me to freeze in my spot. What the hell? You're the fire.
I am a flame, but I am not the fire you gaze upon. I merely look through it to judge you, and the one named Maurice.
You're judging us? Why? For what?
That will be known soon. When the time is right, the one destined to take my power will be tested.
I stared into the fire, lost and confused. Why were we being judged? Was this some sort of trick by the Demon Lord? As I thought of that, the flame intensified slightly.
The Demon Lord, an evil being of this world. He is a curse plaguing this land.
You hate the Demon Lord as well?
He is not worthy of life, but I care not enough to rise from the darkness to rid the world of him myself.
What do you mean?
I have been generous with you, child. You must now be patient.
Before I could even think to protest, the eyes hidden within the flames vanished, and the voice disappeared from my mind, as if it were part of a dream I had awoken from. I shook my head and rubbed my head, taking it in. Some sort of spirit or guardian was watching over us. Apparently it seemed to be strong enough to defeat the Demon Lord himself. Was it possible? Even more so, it was going to test one of us to take its power. My mind instantly went to Sam. There was no reason for me to be the one to be tested, so it had to be him. How would he be tested, though? I shook my head. This was too confusing to think about right now. However, as I sat back and let my mind recognize itself, I suddenly realized something. Where was Sam? I stood and walked to the door, opening it, peeking out into the hall. Sam was nowhere in sight. What the? Sam was really late in coming back. From what we discussed, he should have been back, or at least on the way. However, the distance to their training area was not that far. I began to wander the halls, trying to find where they were. Luckily, Sam made a lot of noise.
Fuck you!
Oh, damn. Sam? I rushed towards Nora, stopping at an open door. Peering in, I gasped as I saw the war room in disarray, as everyone seemed to hug the walls, watching the chaos that was breaking in the middle of the room. Sam and Sarah were clashing swords to spear, with Sam's face full of rage and Sarah's expression void of any emotion.
You're too slow. Faster! You want me to go faster? Fine!
Oh shit. Before my eyes, Sam and Sarah became barely visible shadows through the air, their weapons clang rapidly, almost like multiple bolts crashing at once as they arched towards one another. What is going on? The incubi and the wives moved towards the door to join me, still watching the fight.
Sam was about to leave for the night, but then that jerk of Sarah called him a weak coward. Well, you know how Sam is. He did actually try to walk away, but then Sarah said that the war was his fault, so that got this whole shitstorm started. We've been at it ever since.
The hell? I looked back to Sarah and Sam, still unable to make either of them out as they clashed and fought. My eyes locked on Diana, seeing her lean against the far wall. With crossed arms, as I examined her, her eyes seemed to follow the fight almost masterfully. Was she able to see what the hell was happening despite their lightning speed? Why was she just watching anyway? Sam! Stop it!
Keep at it, Seto. Don't let him stop.
What the hell? I ran over to Diana despite her not taking her eyes off of the fight. Why aren't you stopping this, Diana? I will wait and watch. I still wasn't understanding. Why was I not getting any answers? I turned my gaze to the fight, desperate to try and see what Diana wanted me to witness.
Are you that weak, Incubus? You haven't landed a blow on me once! Are you that weak, Incubus? You haven't landed a blow on me once!
I don't know what happened there.
Shut your fucking mouth! Like father, like son!
I didn't understand why Sarah was egging him on and insulting him, but Sam seemed up for the battle, regardless of the fact, using the insult as inspirational rage. However, from the faint outline of Sam that I could see, I noticed something off about him. His was surrounded by a heavy green and red mixed aura. The more I watched, the more the aura seemed to build and take shape around Sam's body. I couldn't tell what it was, but it looked almost alive.
Enough!
At once, Sam and Sarah slid to opposite sides of the open space, panting and gasping for air. Around Sarah was a faint white light that was diminishing with each breath he took. Around Sam, however, was a clear view of a tensed red and green aura. He's a Christmas tree, guys, I swear. It seems to flicker around Sam like flames, but it didn't seem to die even with the battle being over.
What the hell?
What is that? Seto.
Diana pushed off of the wall and walked to Sarah, wrapping an arm around his and making him gasp at the gesture. He looked at her and shook as she turned to Sam with a hard gaze.
It would seem that we have much to do before the siege.
What are you talking about? Diana seemed to ignore my question as she turned and began to walk towards the room exit with Sarah in her arms. Sam, on the other hand, dropped to the floor and sat back against the wall, trying to calm down. Instinctively, I rushed over to him. Sam shut his eyes as he focused himself to take deep breaths. Each one seemed less labored than the last, but I could tell that he was working. He was working to calm his rage. Sam? The aura around Sam finally seemed to die down before Sam let out a heavy sigh and pressed his head back against the wall. I could tell the exhaustion was weighing on him heavily, so I simply sat beside him waiting.
Sam, what is going on?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Sam, you had a weird aura around you.
I said I don't know.
Sam closed his eyes and pressed his back against the wall. Letting his head drop to his chest, he genuinely didn't seem to know what was going on, but I became concerned. Why was his aura so strange? My thoughts ran to the voice from the flame. Was this the start of whatever test he had in mind? Why were Diana and Sarah involved, though? Sam finally opened his eyes and looked at me. His irises flashed gold at the sight of me, but quickly returned to emerald green as he let out a sigh. I will wait. Oh, how the heck did I do that? What the fuck?
Are you that Enough!
What the hell?
What is that?
Sam, what is going on?
I'll say that there, but what the hell was that? All of a sudden, I was like, whoosh! Like 100 yards back.
Sam.
I said...
Ask if he's okay again. I will wait patiently. This time. I knew Sam well enough not to pester him and to let him settle down. As he stared, he reached a hand up and gently ruffled my hair.
Sorry you had to see that.
I shook my head and held his hand, kissing his palm. As I did, Sam chuckled and stood, urging me to stand along with him. Sam gently took my hand and walked to lead me out of the room.
Hey, hold on!
Shut up, Squirt.
Squirt, what the hell?
Matthew, hey, chill.
I looked back to see Norrin and Damien holding Matthew back from pouncing at Sam, but I continued with Sam out of the room. As we walked down the hall, I looked to Sam, seeing the exhaustion in his eyes. Heavier and heavier. He had used a lot of energy. I wrapped my arms around him and guided him back to our room, sitting in bed and eventually flopping back onto it with me. As he let out a relaxed grunt, I kissed his cheek. Everything okay?
Yeah. Just exhausted. Man, fuck that guard.
I smiled and hugged him, urging him to wrap his arms around me and kiss my forehead.
Something really has been weird, though.
I agree. Both of us went silent as we became lost in thought. I knew Sam was trying to determine what happened, but I was concerned over what the voice in the flame said and how that reflected on Sam. The nightmare I had made a little more sense, but why was I involved? Sam and I went to bed that night, but unsure of what was going on and mildly fearful of what was happening. We couldn't speak about it without knowing all of the pieces. We both knew better than to take stabs in the dark. My night was uneventful, but my morning wasn't the same. I didn't expect to wake up with a hand over my mouth, with a arm tight around my waist. I tried to focus my vision, but as the sensation of the situation set in, I gasped and struggled to see who was keeping me captive. Sarah. I stared wide-eyed, seeing Sarah staring ahead of us as he kept my mouth shut and held me against him with his other arm. What was even stranger was that he was using his holy magic, disabling me to use any of my energy to fight back. What the hell? I looked ahead of us to see a sight I never wanted to see. Diana straddling over Sam's waist as he slept, looking down at him with pure concentration. What was she doing now? Did this have something to do with what happened last night?
Patience, child.
I froze at the sound of the voice in my head. The voice was in on this act too?
She's merely following instructions. No harm will come to him.
be patient. This was another test, another trial Sam had to go through. What kind of elaborated scheme was this? Just to let you guys know before I continue, I'm doing some choices in because I feel like the choices are so close near that I don't want to go back and keep saving and saving. So, with that being said, we're going to continue. Looking at Diana, however, I could tell that she didn't want to do whatever the voice had instructed. Her lips were curved in an almost disgusted grimace as she looked down at Sam. Diana let out a small sigh before pressing her index finger into the top of her head and dragging it down her face between her eyes and all the way down to her crotch. What the? The line that formed on Diana's skin seemed to grow and envelop her body in a strange purple light, changing her skin and almost shrinking her form as the magic finally settled and faded away. I gasped at the sight. Diana's new body was my own, only without clothes. Every curve, every crevice of her body matched mine, and even the voice that came out of her mouth perfectly mirrored my own. Sam, wake up. I felt nauseous watching her run her finger along Sam's hair just like I would. Finally, how the hell does she know anything about how Sam and I interacted intimately? This was creepy and gross, and I felt myself naturally struggle against Sarah to be free. Sam's eyes fluttered open and adjusted to the sight of me straddling over his hips. As Diana gave him my perfect smile, I mentally panicked. What was he going to do? Would he fall for this? No way. There was no way. Sam's eyes trailed up and down Diana's body, just like how he would with me whenever he saw me without clothes. My heart was breaking a bit at the sight.
Get the fuck off me.
Wait, what? Yeah. I grasped as Sam suddenly sat up, gripped Diana's neck, and began to squeeze instinctively. Sarah tightened his hold on me, most likely struggling to obey previous commands to stay put.
What the fuck do you think you're doing, bitch?
Sam. I don't know why she's not saying this, but yes, Sam, stop. A large part of me felt relieved that Sam could see whatever illusion Diana threw on herself. The smaller part of me began to fear Diana's neck being snapped because of it. She continued to act like me to perfection as she gripped Sam's wrist. It was mildly scary to see Sam holding Diana, who looked like a copycat of me. In a strange, messed up way, it was like watching a movie where I was a character in the scene, watching the man I loved act with the actress playing me. The more I watched Sam crush Diana's neck, the more I could imagine him doing that to me, which made me fearful. He would never hurt me, but to see it happening to someone who looked and acted like me was another thing.
If this is some kind of fucked up joke to you, I will end you right now!
Diana began to cry, most likely losing air from Sam's death choke on her. As she coughed, her body began to quake from lack of oxygen. Please, Sam. It's me.
Shut the fuck up!
Sam released a hand from Diana's neck and pushed it into Sam released a hand from Diana's neck and pushed it into her stomach, lifting her off of him and shoving her off his lap against the far wall. Diana crumpled against the floor, curling herself over as she coughed violently and shook from the pain that obviously raked through her. Sam, however, jumped out of bed, walked at Diana, glaring down at her.
You're not her. Where is she, Diana?
Diana looked up at him, tears rushing down her. My eyes as she gripped her neck. Sam, it's me. Stop it. Sam quickly lifted his foot, causing Diana to flinch and cover herself with her hand over her head, bracing for impact while I expected Sam to fall for Diana's trick at the sight of my weakness. He let the kick he was charging up fly into Diana's stomach, slamming her against the wall. He didn't stop, however, slamming his foot again into her, rebounding her against the wall like a soccer ball. Oh man, this is not good. Yeah.
Where is she?
My body began to quake at the sight of Sam kicking Diana, who very much continued to act like me despite the barrage of pain Sam was inflicted on her. This was messed up and wrong. Why was Diana doing this? Why was she letting this happen?
She's following my instructions, and I cannot.
Fuck your directions. I began to grow fearful of Sam, instinctively placing myself in Diana's place. It was only natural since she was acting like me right now. Deep in my heart, I knew Sam would never do this to me. The fear began to fester at the sight of him beating down at an image of me.
Fear not, child. He knows very well who he is attacking. I can hear his heart crying as always.
What do you mean?
He despises doing this, but you have become priority. He pretends to see the sickness as she really is, as he tries to get his answer. A truly interesting deal.
I shut my eyes. Diana was doing her job, and Sam obviously saw through it. He wasn't attacking me. He was attacking Diana for tricking him and assuming she was hiding me from him. I only opened my eyes again to see Sam lift Diana by the throat and pin her to the wall, forming a sword in his free hand and lining the tip between her eyes, even with the blade mere inches away from her face. Diana continued to act, crying and shaking in fear. Amores.
I will kill you!
Thanks so much for watching. If you liked that video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel, you can always subscribe. You can always drop me a line down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Talk to you guys later.
Don't worry, Jude. I'll explain your predicament to the villagers after the ceremony. Please be patient for just a little longer.
Sure. Okay, let's get hunting for those temporal stones. You said they were in the village?
Yes. Gather the stones and bring them to the shrine. It lies beyond the village.
By the way, guys, thank you so much for coming to my stream earlier. I'm sorry I can't really interact with you guys on my stream since I do not have a second monitor. I am working
Compared
towards
to the
that.
outside world, I guess Nia Kara really is quaint.
I used to have a second monitor that would let me, but the way this video card is, it takes a different monitor, which is just a display monitor. So I am currently working towards a display monitor. Hello there. Everyone talks about how great Maxwell is, but me, I think she's beautiful. Well, thank you so much. So there's a save point here. Now, is she by herself? No, she's with them. No, am I supposed to go north, or... Let's talk to you. You have that. Ever since Lord Maxwell left on her journey, the path to her shrine has become infested with monsters. We villagers alone can no longer contain them. Will you help us? Of course I will. The monsters appear in a flock in the northeast region of the... I hate when it does that, and I'm trying to read. I just want to read to people. Why do you gotta go so freaking fast? Let's see this. System. Options. Message speed. How about normal? Since this wants to go so freaking fast. Yes. Let's see if we can do this again. The monsters in question sleep and search for prey on a shallow rise in the spirit way. They are much tougher than the other monsters in the area, so please be very careful. Sure.
Nia Kara really is the sticks, huh?
How about we just call it simple?
Simple.